Chief and Grand Rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is April the 21st, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1441 on the ancient sun calendar, and 1443 on the ancient moon calendar, 1442 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2022 on the Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign, living, ancient, Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Court action. We are the sovereign living justices, and I am sovereign living justice, Pauline Denise Ritchie, in capitis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria personas juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Security Day, in capitis diminution nolo, in red ink, in propria personas juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. Just one moment. There's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere. So I'm going to mute a couple of the lines that are on Islam. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient Al-Moroccan, Moorish American descendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves. For we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, ancient empire state of Morocco. We are the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are the universal Moorish American consul and the Article 3 Moorish American consular court. We are peace. We are one nation. We are one state. We are one empire, and we are one God. We hereby exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, non-proton. So we have been telling you all about the fact that the reason we put court action language at the top of our documents is because we know that the court is the bank and the bank is the court.
Can you please give the name of the ancestors
so
there?
When you go ahead and look in the dictionary, you will see under the word bank and vice versa. You look up court, it will start talking about banks. So let's take a look at that really quickly. Here's the word bank on the screen. Bank, just make that a little bit smaller. Okay, bank. It says it's from the French banque, B-A-N-C, the Latin bancus, which means a bench. Therefore, judges sit on a bench, and so do bankers. Bank, a seat of justice. A court. There it is in plain ancient English, which is a mix of all languages together. Bank. When something is said to be in bank or in banco, that means that it's in full session as sitting in bank. Something is in the bank, that means it's in a court. All the judges of a court being present or before a full bench. That's what a bank is. And then there are some derivatives of the word bank here on the screen. Banca, from the native Spanish name, is a boat resembling a canoe used by the natives in the Philippine Islands. Any references to boats and ships is admiralty law, and that is why banks use admiralty law, and that's why commerce is law and law is commerce. Okay? And I want to show you something specifically here with this last definition here. It says banco. It's a noun. A bank, And it says particularly the Bank of Venice, but it's any bank. And we know Venice is actually Kentucky territory. Number 2, I want to call your attention specifically to number 2. Empress, is the line going in and out? You all, are you hearing me okay?
Yes, clearly. We can hear.
Is it clear? Okay.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Banco, now. Okay, thank you, Nobility. It says here, number 2, in commerce, bank, money of account. That's what a bank is. As distinguished from the current depreciated money of a particular place. So that tells you that there's 2 kinds of money. Okay? One kind of money is about an account, and that exists only on paper or in a computer. Then there's the real money that exists in a place or jurisdiction. Please think about that, because that is the difference between what we came out of and what we currently have now, which is money that's in a particular place. Let's take a look at that place. See, delarium is money because of where we are. Because sometimes we hear people say that, oh, that's not real money. Well, the only people that say things like that, and this is not a put down of them. This is an awareness. People who feel that delarium is not money, but that fiat is a medium of exchange, don't realize where they are. Money and banks are about places. It's tangible, not just existing on a piece of paper. We're the bank. Where are we at ancient Morocco? What money is used at ancient Morocco? The dirham, lawful money. Yes, Justice Apollo, you put the words right. There it is. Delarium is money because the bank said that it's money. The bank says it's money. Therefore, it is money. Those who say that it's not money still think that they're in a corporate paper jurisdiction that doesn't really exist. Delarium is money because the living bank at ancient Morocco says that's money.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
Angel Bay. I wrote down this question in meditated thought the other day, and it goes, how does one that is a governmental body not have its own contract? Because if we understand that the corporate fiction has their Federal Reserve notes, and those are contracts, how does the real governmental body not have its own contracts, which is their own money?
Thank you. Each note is a contract. That's why each one of them has a different serial number. It's a contract. And when you go to the ATM and you pull that stuff out, okay, and I'm not downing anybody that's going to ATM, but just be aware. That's all we're doing is just making you aware that the ATM transaction is connected directly to the nom de guerre. That's what makes that military script and a war document. Each one of them is a war document. Not only is each one of them a war document, but it's also a bond. That's a treasury bond. Those were previously the most frequently exchanged treasury bonds out there. Those were the only thing they had left when we started terminating all corporate contracts. They were saying, okay, they're terminating contracts, that's good, but are they going to terminate the contract? That's good. Because each one of those is a contract. Now, again, we're not trying to make anybody feel bad for using whatever they use as their medium of exchange. We all have to grow into how we do that, and we also are in a transitionary period. But we got to know the truth. We're going to tell the truth about them. Those are dead contracts. Yes, each one has a signature as well, Justice Apollo. Each one has a signature. You know why? Because it's a contract. And then when you look at the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, it tells you that anyone using that is a Federal Reserve agent. So what have we done to rebut that? Because we can talk about the problem all day. Now let's talk about the solution. First, everyone is encouraged to limit passing those green things, because that's the contract. And then if you get to the place where you can make it so that you don't use those green things, but you maybe swipe your card and doing that, then you can also terminate corporate contracts with the bank and just use the infrastructure that belongs to the Moors. The banking infrastructure is ours. It always has been and always will be. That's not going to change. We put those lines in and that infrastructure in thousands and thousands of years ago. Thousands of years ago. And when you see some of that infrastructure, all you got to do is Google banking infrastructure under the land or something similar to that. And you'll see that stuff's been there for a long time, and it's deep down in there. We put it there thousands of years ago, and it's still working. When they start talking about ley lines is just lines, energy lines, one way or another. They're lines to convey energy, whether it be banking information or whether it be electricity. Those ley lines are for the whole infrastructure, not just electricity, not just grid power. It's for banking as well. We put that there. So when you remove that corporate covering off of what's yours and take back the numbers and the letters, fiduciary, then you're governing your affairs again. So it says right here, this is from a dictionary, an 1828 Webster's Dictionary, money of a particular place. Now they're saying that from the current depreciated money, that's their money that's currently depreciated. And it's not money, it's just fiat. That's all it is, it's fiat. So here's what has happened. We first did money of account. While their fiat was flying around, we said, okay, let's do some liens and some court actions and things like that, so that we have money of account on our record, on the public record. And then we started sending that out. That was before we were printing delaware. And then when we said, okay, they're starting to pull that fiat off the land, so now we can go ahead and get our delaware onto the land. Okay. So they started pulling back on the fiat, and they pulled back and pulled back and pulled back, and here we go with delaware. And more started sending delaware out with their documentation. Okay, then that means that the real money has appreciated on the land, and it's the money for this land and this jurisdiction. So those who say delaware is not real money, they just think that they're in a corporate status. They're in not in a corporate status, but in a corporate jurisdiction. In a dead corporate jurisdiction, delarium is not money. And I can't even say that because what is not dead is those are living instruments. Delarium is living. Because it is issued from the living. So we know where we are. We know this is ancient Morocco. This is not the United States Corporation Company. It's definitely not a dead United States company. And so by definition, the definition is on the screen, by definition, okay, money of a particular place is the bank. Where is the bank located? We voted our bank in. And all we did was activate an ancient bank. So having said that, now let's move on. We have to place our banks, okay? So now, this is a great segue into where we're going next. We had to prove that our banks exist on our land. How do we do that? We did it already. So after declaring who we really are, we declared our nationality, we say we're at ancient Morocco, let's prove it. What did we do? We said, okay, everyone in the different territories all over our earth, all that are on the land, put a court action on public record by way of a territorial constitution that says we're on our land, this land is our land, it is not a corporation, here's the Constitution to prove it. Not only do we have the Constitution to prove it, but we can tell you exactly where it is by metes and bounds. Because metes and bounds is part of a Constitution. So let's just take a look because I do want to make sure that I take the time right now to thank everyone who has sent in constitutions. And we're going to go through a list of the constitutions that we received thus far. And if we missed what you sent, tell us right now on the spot so that we make sure that we record all of the constitutions. So let's go through the list. We've received constitutions from Virginia Territory, Delaware Territory, Washington Territory, which is here, Nevada Territory, Minnesota Territory, Maryland Territory, Alabama Territory, Michigama Territory, which is Michigan Territory, United Kingdom, Luton Territory, 1 and 2, Texas Territory, Georgia Territory, North Carolina Territory, Illinois Territory, Louisiana Territory, Pennsylvania Territory, the Philippines Territory. Just one moment. Let me keep going. Ukraine Territory, Trinidad and Tobago Territory, Poland Territory, Italy Territory, Bahamas Territory, Scotland Territory, Japan Territory, Jamaica Territory, French Territory, Dominican Republic Territory, Cuba Territory, Canada, Canaanland, British Canaanland Territory, Barbados Territory, Arkansas Territory, Alaska, which is Alak Territory, Britain, United Kingdom Territory, Canaanland, again Territory, who sent the United States Constitution for Canaanland, Islam, New Jersey Territory, California Territory, Toronto Territory, New York Territory, and Indiana Territory. So did we miss any of the territorial constitutions? We did receive constitution and charters for the Moors at Universal Moorish Empire and Yahuda Washita's East Terra Indians Constitution. So Did we miss any of the constitutions that have come in? Did we miss any? Please star 6 and let us know in case we missed any. Listen, Moors, we got this. We got this. I want to thank the Moors who have taken the opportunity to go ahead and claim the constitutions for many other territories, Justice Yaqub Ali. We appreciate you. We appreciate Empress Justice Crystal Bay at Pennsylvania Territory. No, let me make sure. Maryland Territory. She sent several of them in. Empress Crystal Felita Bay. Yes, we appreciate you. Both of them sent in several constitutions from different places. They got done with their territory, and they went ahead and started getting the territories around them. We got in quite a few, we got some charters in, and I may have missed some of the charters that came in. We got Hennepin County Charter, King County Charter, North Las Vegas Charter, Maryland Reservation Charter. Did we miss any of the charters that came in? We want to thank also Chief Paul Tomahawk Murray for sending in the charters and constitutions that he found as well. Most of them had been were either in the process of being submitted by Moors, or not submitted, being sent by Moors, or in the process of being properly written and put on the public record by the Moors. So we have made just eons of progress in terms of the territories earthwide. I want to say this too about the constitutions that have come in. I was speaking to one of the Moors who's currently being tested at one of the territories. And she is just brilliantly testing. She knew it was a test, and she's in there just, she's got the place turned right back on the right way, that's the way that it's supposed to be. And so I told her that one of the Moors in her territory had recently, in the last 3 or 4 days, put the Constitution for that territory on the public record. And this was her reaction. She said, "Oh, you know what? That's got to be why they called this court today, because they called a court like impromptu and said, we got to get her back in here, because she's been standing on her square and telling them where she was. She knew in her spirit that it was because the Moors in the territories had spoken. And I'll just tell you, it was Maryland territory, and she's currently being tested there, and the Empress is just, she's got them like, she heard them saying, she set herself free. She set herself free. They got to let her go. But she knew she was being tested. And it's because of the Moors at Maryland territory who took the opportunity to put the Constitution on the record, not knowing that it was going to help her in there. And she knew in her spirit that was why they automatically said, we got to get her back in here, because the land has been established. Where she is established on the public record. And when she's done with her testing, she'll tell her story. She'll give her testament. So I won't give her appellation right now, but when she comes out, she's powerful. She's very powerful. She knows it's a test, and she is just really doing what Moors do when we're tested, which is shine, 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 shine. And then the things that we're doing out here are connecting with the Moors that are being detained. Very, very powerful work. Thank you for those who've done that. What else does that do? Because we're talking now about yes, Justice Morpheus, yes we do, We're talking about merchant cards, okay? The question is in the chat before we go there is, where are the constitutions being sent to exactly, and by email, fax, postal? The Moors are putting them on the public record in their territories, and then we receive them here at thegovernment@gmail.com. That's where we've been receiving them. And logging in, each one that comes in, and who sent it in, looking them over. We haven't had the opportunity to review each one, but what we are doing is stating that on the public record we have the authority to update, revise, review, study, validate, move, put in as we see fit. So those who are doing the constitutions, if you want to edit some things and change some things, keep track of your edits and changes, because we are going to present all of these constitutions are going to be presented to the people overall. So what's happening right now is judiciary work. So everyone who's sending in these constitutions and charters, you are absolutely doing judiciary work. Are the local constitutions located on the public record? When you say local, what do you mean, Justice? When you say local, are you meaning the corporate one? Or are the Moors putting them on the public record, and where are they located? Are the Moors putting it? Okay, I'm going to assume that you're meaning, are the Moors putting them on the public record, and where are they located? You will have to check with the Moor who put it on the public record and see where they put it.
Islam, Empress. I'm sorry. My computer, for some reason, is slowing down. I'm trying to type as you're speaking, but it's not letting me type. But I was just wondering, are they on the public record as we speak? All the 40, 50 charters and constitutions that people have placed on the public record, are they on the public record where we can go and see them?
They are, if the Moors who sent them in put them on the public record, and we are saying please post them, whether it be on social media, which is the public record, put them on the public, go ahead and autograph them with your right red thumbprint and put them on the public record. We will review them, because we have to have constitutional conventions. That's what we're preparing for. It's constitutional convention. Okay. We're going to have them for the territories, and then we're going to come together and have them for the whole empire.
Okay.
So that yes, Islam.
Islam, I yield.
Thank you, nobility. So that's what we're preparing for, constitutional conventions for the territories as well as us together as the empire. So now, with regard to merchant cards, the merchant cards, if there's any noise in your background, if you would please mute *6, please. With regard to merchant cards, what do the constitutions and the merchant cards have in common? The merchant cards are jurisdictional. The Constitution states clearly for the record that the commerce that we're doing is on our land. That's why the Constitutions were so important, because they place everything, grocery stores, all of that, squarely on our land. And those who are ringing up groceries and working and doing, moving papers and doing things on computers at the courthouses and things, all of those are our custodians. They're custodians. That's what putting the Constitution on the public record is all about. It means that everybody within those metes and bounds are in their proper status now. And so now we can move forward with the commercial viability of Maria. And I can tell you right now that it's not even an issue. They knew we were coming. They knew we were coming. There are just certain things that we needed to put on the public record. So it wasn't anything. We're not getting anyone's approval. We're showing that we're competent to govern. And so these constitutions and charters now, the land charters, the county charters, okay? When we say county, we spell it differently from the way they spell it. The county charters, we need to get those on the public record also. Just we're saving ourselves through all of this. And if you put the territorial constitution with your document, it's going to show clearly that you're competent to know where you are, that we properly rebutted their claim to the land. Okay. So yes, in the chat, I'm trying to stay on point. But Justice Raymond answered the question that was in the chat. Islam. The question was, what documents do we use for insurance cover? The indemnis facier. You also want to, if you've ever had insurance ever before, at all, ever, you want to nationalize that resource. The same way that we're doing merchant cards and things like that is go back, look at the record, and put everything in red and all lowercase letters and lean the old, lean that old insurance number and put it, and then take out any dashes to that number and put it by affidavit as insurance, and then notify whoever it is that issued that. Okay. That they are custodians and that you govern that, and send them $100 million in delarium so that you can properly state the indemnis facier, because the indemnis faciers are $100 million each. Okay. And so when you send $100 million in delarium, and you can also download the document underneath this video that states that $1 delarium is equal to $1. The one that we have gotten the lower court witnesses on. One thing I found out too in my research about the inferior courts that we have that has the custodians in the of the superior county court, we found out that those courts, because they're the land courts and they're in their proper jurisdiction now, that they have they're higher than corporate Supreme Court corporations. They have more authority than Supreme Court corporations. We know we're the living Supreme Court. But that's what gives the inferior court, the constitutionally inferior courts, any peace in what they're doing, is that we are issuing commands for those, for them to do what they need to do. So always send delarium with your affidavits, always, because we need to prove that we are at ancient Morocco. It's not just assumed, it has to be proven. Just like nobility is not assumed, because there are some who look like us that are not the nobility. So nobility is not assumed, it is proven. Who are we proving it to? Ourselves. Because man knows not by being told. So these constitutions, I want to send a special thanks to Empress Crystal Felita Bay, who put the metes and bounds for the 50 territories in the proper format. So I want to take a moment and let's just look at the metes and bounds, because again, we're talking commerce here. We're talking merchant cards. Where are we doing this business? The metes and bounds document needs to be put on the public record. Whenever you put a constitution, put the metes and bounds document with it, please. Okay. Yes, you must send affidavits. Whenever you send delarium works best when you send sovereign affidavits with it, because they are incompetent. You have to tell them what to do. They are not competent to know what to do with delarium and that much resource. They're not competent to know that. You must state what is to be done by command, not request, but by command. Okay. And again, we're talking merchant cards and fiduciary duties. Okay. A good fiduciary, a competent fiduciary, will be able to state where they are in terms of, we say we're the ancient people. Well, where is the ancient land? Read the Constitution and the metes and bounds, and that will tell everyone on the public record where our land is. And then they'll say, well, because I've had people say this, well, where's the gold? We're the gold, first and foremost. We're the gold. And then we can point to the metes and bounds and say, it's right under the land. And then we can look at geological surveys and say, there's where the gold is. That's back in these documents, and it's delarium. So we can point to our vast estate. It's all around us. We have the information that we can state by command and by court action, because, again, we're doing everything by court action. That means it's the law. We're creating lawful sovereign title to the land that's encompassed in the metes and bounds. And we can use a geological survey that we look at it and then we put that in blue ink. Or we can put it in red ink, whichever. You choose. I prefer doing both. But blue and red, or red, because red is the land and blue is the law, admiralty law. Okay. And so look at a geological survey or a report for mines that tells you where all the mines are, and then say, here, this is us right here. So we have all the pieces that we need in order to make a basic, competent statement. And we won't use their geological reports. What we'll do is the same thing we did with these constitutions, make it our own. It must be ours because it came from us in the first place. Okay? So, yes, send delarium with everything you send out. Okay? Now, competent fiduciary duties with regard to merchant cards. A competent fiduciary identity will be properly established with each and every exchange, each and every one. Just like when we were in our fleet, especially those who used to be in the military, you didn't go anywhere without your ID. And in our fleet, we didn't go anywhere without ID, or what we thought was ID. Okay? We didn't go anywhere without ID. And so, being that, and then when it came time for things like conveyance purchases, and domicile purchases, that required stacks and stacks of paper. Well, we have that narrowed all the way down. Okay. There's a question in the chat that says, just one moment. Let me see. There's a couple of questions in the chat. I want to stay on topic, though, for the most part. Let me see here. Oh, we need to speak on the question. Is admiralty law, the question about Atlantis, the meets and rounds will answer that. Atlantis hasn't gone anywhere, we're Atlantis. Admiralty law versus law of the land? No, they work together. Admiralty law and the law of the land work together. That's why you put a charter and a constitution. The Constitution is the law of the land, but it also establishes where the commerce is being done at. So it's bringing admiralty and the land together. Okay, so they work together. Having said that, where competent fiduciaries are concerned, now fiduciary, Moors are doing the 6 most powerful court actions. They're doing those. Where fiduciaries are concerned, I would encourage the fiduciaries, based on like domiciles and conveyances and all that, I would encourage you to do all of the documents that we put on the public record because we see a need for them. We have a list of all of those documents that we'll bring forth in just a moment, but for those who are going to be sending in constitutions, the email address that you send it to is on the screen, and government has an E on the end. It's thegovernment@gmail.com. So if you did not see your territory here on the screen as having received the Constitution for your territory, please go onto the internet, pull up the Constitution for the state of whatever the name of the territory is, state of whatever. Take that information, put it on Moorish government letterhead, put it in blue ink, then go through and review it. And if you see any changes that need to be made in terms of feudal language or corporate language, such as state of this and state of that with using capital letters, even if it's just one capital letter, you want to put it all in all lowercase letters and take state of out. Okay, and for those who turned in constitutions, if you didn't do that, all the constitutions that I saw, for the most part, were already in all lowercase letters. So that's how they should be, you know. Especially when you're talking about land. We got a couple of constitutions that were not in all lowercase letters; they were in capitals and initial minimum, which is fine because they were not specifically talking about land; they were talking about people. Examples of issues where competent fiduciaries are concerned. When we are competent, we don't have any issues with lower courts and things like that because we know that there's some custodians there and that really we're running those courts. We're running them. We're governing them. And the reason we know that we're governing them is, number one, they couldn't do anything without our autograph. Number two, whenever we send documents out, we notify them, and when we notify them, they are to enforce as custodians, enforce what we say. Now, I spoke with a Moor who gave me the go-ahead to show you an example of, he did a couple of demonstrations, and he got back some correspondence from those custodians in the office of clerk and etc. And we had an in-depth discussion with him about how to fine-tune what he's doing, because he is demonstrating powerfully. There's some fine-tuning that needs to be done. So we want to discuss that where merchant cards are concerned, especially because the demonstrations that we're doing right now is setting the atmosphere for merchant card exchanges, for commercial exchanges and delaware exchanges. Okay. So he received some correspondence back, and we want to just take a look at the correspondence so that we can show what was done and what was stated, et cetera, and how these custodians, they're giving us hints, but we have to know how to read. They're giving us hints, but we have to know how to read. So what he did was he was trying to file nationality documents in a court without, without the things that came out of his mouth didn't match the document. Okay. So when he was speaking to them about the documents, he was calling the custodian a clerk. So she was acting like a clerk. Because the only time they're a clerk is when they're dealing with citizens. Because that's what we said. We said you deal with the citizens one way, and with us you're a custodian for the things that, because we know those courts belong to us. Okay. And so he was trying to get them to file the documents, and they did not. They said, no, we can't do that. They know what we have stated about our documents. So let's give an explanation of what he received here. What they said, this is what they said. They said declaration of nationality and name change documents prohibited. The county clerk's office does not file and will not accept for recording documents concerning nationality, declarations of nationality, or changes of nationality. This includes declarations of being a sovereign citizen, a citizen of a nation, or not a citizen of a nation or country. Matters of nationality, citizenship, and or treaty are federal law matters and are not a local county matter. You may wish to refer your questions to your own private lawyer, country, or nation's embassy or consular office. So let's just stop right there. And if you would, Morris, start 6 if you can see a few things about what they're really trying to say here. What do you see there about, and what do you know about us? Yes, in the chat. Go ahead. Go ahead, Avery.
Gloria Bay. I see that we are foreign to them, is what she's saying, because she mentioned our own country, our own nation, our own embassy, our own consular office. So she's saying she's not the one.
If you're, and then she's, yes, absolutely yes. And what she's also saying here is it says the county clerk's office. So that means that someone must have called her a clerk. Someone must have called her a clerk, and she's not a clerk. So now, how do we, and this is the remedy, how do we get our documents properly recorded and notified? How do we do that? Does anyone know how to properly get them to do what they're supposed to do? Because our status is on the, yes, Islam Empress.
Well, first you gotta lean them and make sure, that lien was properly sent out to the places where it needs to be sent out. And then put them on notice, do the court action, put that on the public record. And then you issue them the affidavit that they are the office of and they're the custodian, and then they are to, adhere to the commands of the Moors. That's one.
Bravo. Bravo. Can we just take a moment and Empress, let's just give that Empress a huge Islam, because that is so how you put them in subject status. They must be in subject status.
Islam.
They must be. Islam.
So also to add to the Empress, you lean the straw man and the social insurance number, and you do a coercion on that. And you do a coercion on that.
Lean the straw.
Right. Lean the straw man and the SIN number with it, and your birth certificate. Do a coercion. Do a coercion. And any documents that is written in black that was given by their corporation, your SIN number, your travel documents, whatever, and do the coercion.
Yeah.
Send the coercion to the program marshal to decapitate or to execute.
Yeah.
The straw man and the SIN numbers and all documents of corporation. Also use termination of contract with all corporation. Along with that, termination of contract. Along with any contract you have with the corporation can be it. Along with the nations and jurisdiction and the fiduciary document.
Yeah.
That should do the most work with it. Islam.
There it is. There it is. There it is. You lean them out of your office. They don't have any title. They don't have any title. They're custodians. That's the title. Custodian. Yes, and then record all your documents on the public record. That's how you do it. Now, when talking to the brother who received this information right here, he sent in all of he sent in the fiduciary document, and he did a lien on the straw and all that. But every time he spoke about them, he called them judges and clerks and stuff. I said, nobility, that's where they got. That's why they did that. Because they will record whatever you tell them to record when you know that they're the custodian and they have to do it. I am living proof of that. When you know that they're custodian and you don't call them anything but a custodian, then, and after a while, let me just say this for the record, after a while, they're not even going to be custodians. We're moving into place. Okay? Yeah, Justice Raymond, you better teach. He said that his speech gave them authority to deny him. Yes. We actually have to tell them that they have the authority to deny us, and that's the only way they can even do that. They can't deny us unless we tell them that, okay, you act like the clerk. And it's like we're directing our own movie. If it's Gloria, I would put custodian in the office of. And it don't matter what comes after that, they're all custodians in the office. And we are the judges and the justices and the clerks and all of that. Okay? Now, a competent fiduciary, now this is going to be important because where our merchant cards and fiduciary duties are concerned, as we're beginning to now use our merchant cards to do things, our affidavits are going to speak to the bank, which is the court, which is us, and we have to know how to tell the custodians who we really are. That's why I had no problem putting cards and everything up on the screen. Because if the language ain't right, they're not going to honor it. They're not going to honor it. I mean, I'm telling you, Morris, we don't even have to worry about fraud and all of, and other wars. you know, dirty Moors taking other people's identity. We don't have to worry about that. We don't. Because if they're even putting that kind of energy out there, they're going to mess up. They're going to say something that ain't right. If it's their job to be honest, it's going to block the proper information from coming to them. Competent information does not come when there's energies that block it. And that's why I say before we do anything, clear your energy. If you're mad at the dog, clear your energy so that that energy won't block what you're trying to do. So, and then anyone whose energy is in honor, they're going to be in honor. So we still have no worries. Our ancestors know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. That's why I trust the Moors completely. Because I already know how our ancestors work. You all know how they work too. That spirit is going to do what it does. In the chat, one of the states has over 50 town charters. All have to be placed on the public record. Not all of them, because we have the metes and bounds of the state, of our territories rather. We have the metes and bounds. That's why the metes and bounds are so important, because if we, you know, as we are doing this work, over time, we will specifically address all 50 of those corporate towns, because they can't stay either. They can't claim anything either. It belongs to the Moors. So over time, and that's why our government is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. We're enlarging our territory already. And all we're going to do is start paring down, not paring down, that's the wrong word. We're going to be rising to claim even the smallest detail, which would include 50 town charters, etc. That belongs to the Moors. We're coming for everything. Right, Moors? We're coming for all of it. Everything that belongs to us, we're here already. We're here for it. And that's how we get it. Put the law on the public record so that everyone knows where everybody is and everyone knows everyone's status. See, when we put the Constitution on the public record, then it doesn't matter who's within those metes and bounds. They have a status, and that status is proper. It's the proper status. And then we speak it. And we let our words match what's on the document. So fiduciary, this is what we're doing when we start looking at all of this and how to properly state everything and how to say what needs to be stated out of our mouth, and having what we state match what we stated on our document. Because we're getting ready to move into full-scale merchant commerce and all of that. Okay, with our own money. Yes, Islam interest.
So from our other private conversation that we had, you had mentioned to me about rewriting the office of Pope to the office of President. And I've done that. I did the June 10th and the July 4th. And so I sent those to the prospective people in the office of the county and to the office of the Archbishop in state New York. And I'll send you the copy as well. So you can put that on public record. Yes.
Thank you so much, Empress. Your work is stellar. Your work is absolutely stellar, Empress. Please send it to us so we note that we have that land claimed properly and those offices properly claimed, etc. listen, the Moors on this call, all of your work is stellar. Look at what we did just in such a short period of time. It is just, you know, and all we have to do is keep going and keep notifying and all of that. That's what we have to do. And then let's look at the second half of this. First, let's talk matters of nationality, citizenship, and or treaty are federal law matters and are not a local county matter. What they're saying is that our court, the Moorish National Republic federal government, and our Moorish American consulate, any issues of diversity are ours to govern. Those are our issues to govern. That's what they're saying. They're telling you they don't have jurisdiction over you. That's what that means. When they say we can't take that, all they're doing is doing what we told them to do. Do not try to have jurisdiction over the Moors because you don't have it. And the more that was trying to get them to file his thing, we just suggested that he just mail the stuff or drop it off or send it, and then nope, that you did that. And that notice to agent is notice to principal. They've all been notified when you send it to them or you deliver it to them. They're notified. That is a filing. That's called a filing by us. Notification is filing. And again, yes, use our letterhead and put that court action language at the top. See, when it's filed with our court, it's filed, period. When it's filed with our court, notice to agent is notice to principal is notice to agent. And then all we do is notify the lower court. However you choose to do that, notify them. And when we notify lower court fiduciaries, we make sure that they get a wet ink autograph, at least one wet ink autograph, and a right red thumbprint, because that's how we do our banking. Because they have to have original. It's best to have original because they can't really do anything without originals. They have to have the king or queen or empresses or emperors, something real. That's why we have our stamps and seals, and we use our white red thumbprint, and we give a wet ink autograph. And then all they do is match up the thumbprint and do as commanded.
Islam
interest.
Is there anyone in the Texas territory that is, is there anyone in the Texas territory?
Is there anyone
that I could
in Texas at Texas territory? We have not heard from anyone on this particular call, but there are Moors who are a part of the, there it is in the chat. Empress, can you see the chat?
I cannot. I'm on the phone. Okay.
Okay. There's an Empress at Dallas, Texas territory.
Okay. May I speak? Empress?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. I'm in Dallas County, Texas, Mesquite, Texas, the city of Mesquite. That's where I'm located, if the Empress wants to know. Thank you. Islam.
Okay, I would love to. I'll be in Dallas soon. Okay. Oh, Islam. Is there a way that I can contact her? I can give her my phone number.
Sure.
Okay,
yeah.
and if you don't want to do it on this open platform, both of you, if the two of you would send me your information, I'll exchange it between the two of you Unless you don't mind your number being on here or your email being on here.
No, definitely. I will send that to you. Okay. It's this is Empress Nadia.
The Empress put her number in the chat.
Okay, if I can, well, I can't put it in the chat. So. And it doesn't matter.
Okay, text me, Empress, and I'll send you what she put in the chat.
Okay.
And do you have my number, Empress? Because my number is everywhere.
Is it the 3? Okay. Is it the? I want to make sure I have the correct. Starts with a 3. It's
it's 334-294-9828.
Got it. Okay. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, Empress Gloria. We appreciate you. Yes, it's Empress Gloria at Dallas Territory.
Gratitude.
Okay. And I'll send that information. So that's what I love about these calls is that you can connect with other Moors too on here, and we can just get even more stuff done. So let's look again here. It says here, listen, these people are turning you and pointing you right back to yourself. They say you may wish to refer your questions to your own private lawyer, country, or nation's embassy or consular office. They know that the Moors have all of that. All they're doing is saying, go right on back to your people because y'all got all the answers for you. And they are subjects to us, so they're going to tell the Moors that. They're going to say, go look in the mirror for the answer because it's there. Legal name change. Let's look at the second half of this. It says legal name changes commonly occur through marriages, dissolution of marriage in court, and legal name changes in court. What is that sentence saying? It's saying that all of that type of stuff right there is a bond that a fake court is doing. Empress Aisha, you have your hand up?
Yes, I wanted to also find out if there were anyone in the Flint area. I know some friends in Detroit, but, that's about an hour and a half drive from me.
You said Flint area, Empress?
Yes.
Islam, Empress. This is Raymond Bael. I'm in Grand Rapids. I'm 45 minutes from you.
Okay.
Who is this?
Raymond Bael.
At Grand. Oh, Raymond. Justice Raymond. Yes, Justice Raymond.
Yep,
Justice Raymond's not far from there.
Well, not even. We are 45 from Lansing. I'm about maybe an hour from you, which is not far.
Okay. So, Sister Light, if you pass my number on, can we do it that way?
I sure will, Empress.
Who am I speaking to? Empress
Aisha L.
Aisha
that's Empress Aisha.
Okay, you can reach me at my email. I'm going to put it in the, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put my email where you can contact me and we can go there, or either Messenger on Facebook, or either just go to my radio station. Either or, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm all over, but I don't have a phone right now, so, because I got rid of all that crap, that stuff, so, until it's proper.
So put your email in the chat then. No, put in. She'll get your email, and then you'll be able to connect with her that way.
Beautiful. And anybody else in Michigan, if you'd like to reach out, I'm going to put it there for you as well.
Islam. Connect up more. Woo. We got this. So, now, when they're talking about legal name changes, they're talking about names of citizens and subjects, okay? They're not talking about us. All of that is handled by our court. okay? And all we do is put it on the public record and then notify them. And if there's something going on, because the more that did this demonstration, where these documents were the result of his demonstration, they were attempting to get him to claim a nom de guerre so that they could, you know, I think it was about tickets or something like that. So the reason that they sent this type of a response back again was because he was trying to file it with them when really they should have just been notified, or he needed to be in fiduciary status and then tell them to file it. Because see, they'll file it when you're in fiduciary status and you're not calling them clerks and all of that, and you say, as a custodian, this is for you to file. As a custodian, this is for you to file. Make sure that the custodian in the office of gets it. Okay? And so, you know, they're telling you right here on the screen that they know that our courts are the courts. They're telling you right here on the screen that they know that, you know, that stuff is handled by us. Okay? Now, when they say a country or a nation's embassy or consular office, again, the reason that they're using that language is because they're treating him like he was submitting foreign documents to them. Why? Because he didn't recognize them as custodians.
Yeah.
They know their landlords. They know who the landlords are. They know we're the landlords and that they're the custodians. They know that. Okay? And they're not foreign to us as subjects. They're not foreign to us. They have a different status, but they're not foreign. They then become a resource when we properly address them by name or custodian. Okay? So that is, and see, some Moors will get something like this back and they'll say that Moorish documents don't work. No, you just need to know how to read. You need to know what they're saying. They're giving you hints about who you really are, but you have to know how to read it. It says here, legal name changes do not occur by simply preparing a document.
Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Islam Empress, you lost your sound.
So, Islam.
Last thing we heard was they know that legal.
Okay. They know that a legal name change, you fill out forms for that, okay? And we don't fill out their forms. See, again, those who have the authority to change their status and change how they are referred to, or change and state I have a title of nobility, they don't go through they don't fill out their forms. They just do, we do affidavits, okay? So she's telling you there, a legal name change does not occur by simply preparing a document or affidavit outside of any court proceeding, and she's telling you there it has to go through a court. It says here, legal name changes do not occur by simply preparing a document or affidavit declaring you have changed your name outside of any court proceeding and are not recorded in our office. The key to that is outside of any court proceeding, and that is why we put our court action language there.
All right.
Okay.
Also, legal is a construct of their government, not lawful. Legal and lawful, two different things.
Yes, we do things lawfully, but we can get the legal to do what it needs to do because the legal is ours too. But if you're calling them clerks, that's not legal or lawful. You know, if you're calling them judges and justices and all of that, that is actually unlawful, really, kind of, sort of. To call them anything other than custodians, because they don't, that's the Constitution says no titles of nobility to anybody else. And if the nobility is saying that they have jurisdiction over us, what are we saying? What are we saying? So we must correct our language so that we speak like, you know, that we be the landlords that we are. We have to be who we really are. So they're telling you here that it has to be by court proceeding, et cetera, et cetera. Again, they know we have our own court. So when they see Moors coming like that, they just say, go back to the consular court, go back to the Moors court. You all have your own court. And not only that, we don't have to go back. When you put them in custodian status, they'll do what you tell them because that's ours too. That's the point. See, so you have two options on how to do things, get things done. You have two options, and those two options are very similar. Because either one of those options requires that you know that they are custodians. It's a requirement. Okay? Now, this is another demonstration that was done by this same Moor, which I'm so grateful that he let us look at these things, because it's telling us that the custodians are doing what they're supposed to be doing. If they see anyone coming that sounds like a citizen calling them clerks and judges, then citizens can't change their own name. That is done through them, by their processes and their bonds of marriage and their bonds of, you know, divorce and their bonds of bondage. So we're looking here at this demonstration. It says here, and again, this is the subjects doing exactly what they should be doing. It says, good afternoon, team, and this is from one of the subjects to the other who saw someone come in, and he was saying he was a Moor. Yes, he's a Moor, but he was giving them titles. It says here, as many of you are now aware, an individual, okay, so then that means that statehood was not put first. Because see, our state is who is speaking in our affidavits. It's the state. An individual wanted Yvonne to notarize a document with the attached ID that seems to be labeled as a Moorish American nationality card. And he put capital letters here on purpose. It says the state's attorney's office, and he put that in all lowercase letters. I'm telling you, they know this. They know what's going on. They know we're the state's attorney in all lowercase letters. We're all of that. But then they put a citizen situation on the card by putting these capital letters at the beginning of each word. It says the state's attorney's office stated that this type of ID cannot be used for notarizing. Can anyone state why a Moorish American ID should not be used to get a clerk of court to notarize your document? Can anyone explain that?
Islam.
You can start there. Islam.
Raymond Bell, a Moorish ID, national ID, does not need notarization, first of all. Second of all, they said that one of the key things I see in this video is that it seems to be labeled. And then they put the capital, Moorish American nationality, when yet we have everything on the public record all over the land stating who and what we are and how we do it. That's why they say seemed to be labeled, as a Moorish American card. So I mean, you don't need their validity. That's my point, I guess, pretty much.
Islam?
Islam.
Islam.
Islam. If you have
Islam,
stamps and seals, or you're right, yes, Islam.
not in their jurisdiction, that's what it really is about. So the Moorish ID card is not in their jurisdiction, so they can't deal with it. So they can't weaponize it. So they're
I'm sorry, you sound really muffled. Can you clear up? I'm not sure how you would do that.
I'm saying the Moorish ID is not in their jurisdiction. So it's a clash between two jurisdictions. One's a corporate and one is indigenous. One is land law and corporate law. It's a clash. It's like the Peace and Friendly Treaty. The laws that refer to land is not the laws that refer to the corporation. And laws in the corporation is not the laws that refer to land. So they can't judge the person or give the person any authority. They can't give authority over a national card.
When you call, now that is absolutely true when you call them clerks and judges and things like that, because they're not that. When you call them a corporate, when you give them some type of authority, they go straight into corporate status. And then it becomes two jurisdictions simply because you have stated it. Go ahead, Empress.
Yes, the nobles basically said it too, and what I was going to add is that it's allodial in its nature, and there's no liens attached to our nationality cards. It's inalienable and unalienable, and it's not a corporate card.
Now, that's absolutely true, Empress. And again, Morris, the remedy is they will do whatever you tell them to do when you know that they're not who they're pretending to be. When you say a custodial notary stamp, if I were to say to them, first I would do a court action, and then I would say, what is your name? And they would say, oh, Becky. And then I would say, well, Becky, this is if I wanted them to stamp it. If I wanted them to stamp it, which I don't. But if I wanted them to stamp it, I would say, Becky, you are a custodian in the office of notary. So as official notary, these documents need to be stamped with the notary stamp. And since you're a custodian in the office of the notary, go ahead and stamp these documents. Go ahead and stamp them. Because the real notary is saying do it. But do we need that? We don't. But for the ones who want to demonstrate that way, at least know that they're not notaries.
Islam.
And when you know that they're not notaries, they will do whatever you tell them. Islam.
I don't know why a notary is $5. I don't know why they try to act as if they have so much authority over doing that. I can see if it costs a whole lot of Federal Reserve notes. It's $5, and they act as if they have jurisdiction over it.
You know what? All they're doing is listen, the only reason they're even that is there has to be a commercial exchange on the public record. And we don't use what they use, so why would we need a note? We don't need them. If you got gold seals and stamps on your document, why would you seek an inferior stamp or seal? Why? But if that's what you want, at least know that they're not the notary that you are, and you're commanding them to stamp your documents with your stamp, which you should have already done.
Islam
nobility.
There's no seal higher than our seal or your own seal, which is your thumbprint. There's no seal on this earth is more greater than your thumbprint. That's the highest seal that was ever created by the Creator. And the reason why they don't allow you to use your natural fee is because it's $100 million worth in gold. And they created promissory notes and bonds so they can use your name to keep their commerce going. That's why all the corporations always in debt. They cannot clear debt because they need your name and your signature to keep moving and operating as a corporation. I yield the floor. I share.
So, listen, this is a corporate email right here. This is a corporate email. This is corporations talking to corporations. And they're actually not even using all capital letters. They're speaking capitis diminutio minima because they know that this guy is not the chief deputy for the Moors. He is a custodian. We're the chief deputy. But we have to know, and that's why I say we need not get mad at them. We got to know our stuff. We got to know who we are. Because Moors will get mad that these people will not break the law because we told them don't do that. Do not put a stamp on our stuff unless we tell you to. Don't do it because you're not the chief deputy. We are. And that is why the documents that we have on the public record, it has those inferior court blue and purple and red stamps on them. We put it on there because we know and again, anybody who has been doing things like watching landlords, those that were doing business as landlords do business, they go and get those stamps all the time. But the stamps that they've been using were black, whereas ours are not black. Okay, so I wasn't going to go in there and tell them to stamp anything because they don't. I'm not giving them my. I'm not giving them my sovereign status. I'm not giving them a delegation of authority or a legation of authority. Neither one. Because I'm fully capable of doing it myself. So I just went in, stamped the document, I'm out. Because that's what the stamps are sitting there for. And they're held to the things that we put on the public record. All of that, they're held to that. They have to actually do exactly as commanded with regard to any of that. And not only that, the custodians in the office of the sheriff are supposed to enforce that, but one of us would have to be with them. And we should be there anyway because we're the head sheriff. We know that. So we just have to know who we are more. That's all. Just know who we are. Continue to demonstrate and just know who we are. Okay? And they're going to keep telling you who you are because they're no longer under any type of an oath not to tell you because we put it out on the public record. They're no longer under any oath not to tell you who you are, but they're not, there's only so much they can say. For those who have eyes to see, you'll see it. For those who have ears to hear, you'll hear it. So I'm grateful to the brother who let us see these documents and put them up so that we could explain that. I mean, look at how they're writing these things. They know that their capitalism is that's not what we're doing. The Moors are not doing that. They know the state's attorney's office is in all lowercase letters because we're the state's attorney's office. We're all of that. We are the state's attorney. We're the state. We're all of that. So fiduciary, this is going to be very important as we move forward, that you know who you are and know how to state who you are and know that those are custodians in those places. Why is it important for them to know that? Because these are the same places that we will be going to as we do our sovereign commerce. and our merchant commercial actions. See, now those offices are now flows of currency that we can use. The current is flowing in the right direction now. Okay, that's important. The currency needed to flow in the right direction. We had to take the seat, take the stand first. Okay. Proper fiduciary, we have to know how to state that. Either of the following options we require proper fiduciary documentation. Okay. So when we say options, either you can have, and this should be done anyway, the Article 3 court, which is you, should be speaking and stating what the custodians are to do. And then that's the first option. The second option is have them state what the custodian should be doing, and then tell them to enforce it through your office, the office of the head magistrate, which is you. So those are the options. Our court can tell them to the custodians to do it, or our court can issue it. The only issue with telling them to do anything is that sometimes they get confused about whose capitalism we're using, whose instruments we're using, and we're not having that. That's why whenever you're giving instructions or commands to them, send the fiduciary document, and now you have the constitutions and the metes and bounds to let them know where they are. No, they're not in any corporation. They're on our land and with their metes and bounds. And if you take the option where you say to them, use the office of, and see, I wouldn't even tell them that because they don't have the authority to use the office. We're it. We're the office. We're not it. We're the office. So whenever we send something to them, when we notify them with regard to remedy for the two things that we just saw, a like fiduciary is what needed to be put forth, even what we say. Because again, Morris, as I spoke to this brother, he said that he sent the 6th document, but in his language, he was saying something different than what was on the document. He was not being a like fiduciary. He was actually giving them titles and things, and they listened for that. Okay, so this is where they know what to do when they see those fiduciary documents come through, and they see the Moors coming through saying custodian this and custodian that. Okay. And so what documents are we talking about with regard to the merchant cards? Because again, we're going to be going to these same places where our merchant actions are concerned. We'll be going to, because these are our courts. All of this belongs to us. Yes, there are some custodians there, but those are our resources. We need to use them as resources, knowing that we're the source of that resource. So Moorish merchant card fiduciaries. Now, for those who are going to be having merchant card use, the Moors that are going to have merchant card use, you need to be governing in the territories and knowing that everyone in the territories, in terms of those who have jobs, are in a custodial status. That's what all jobs are about, is they're being custodians of the Moorish resources. So Moorish merchant card fiduciary work in the territories will be to extinguish perceived homelessness, to provide services such as food, clothing, and shelter, as well as all that is needed to uplift fallen humanity. Those governing the territories must have, and it's suggested, I said must, but let me change that to it is suggested, or I'll say should, or are encouraged. Are encouraged to have all documentation on the public record in like manner that we have stated. We will be using the appropriations mechanism within our sovereign state to govern. At this time, please ensure that you have the following documents on the public record if you are called to govern where Moorish merchant card and the extinguishing of homelessness and governing the resources in that manner are concerned. So we have access to the vast estate by appropriation, but the ones who appropriate must be competent to do so. Okay, and you will be, no worries, you will be, because we're gonna walk through that process together. All of us are going to walk through that process together. The reason why our cards have 100 million on them, 100 million really is not enough. It's just appropriation for initial. That's initial appropriation. For each of the territories, 100 is necessary. Okay, so those who are governing the territories, 100 million is necessary on your card because of the extinguishment of perceived homelessness and providing services such as food, clothing, and shelter. Now, what does that look like? We'll talk about that coming up in the next few. We've talked about it, touched on it briefly in the past, but we're going to be going into detail on how to do that because the Moors need relief. You don't know how many text messages and things we get from Moors saying that they're, they're dealing with issues of not having a place to stay, not having, this, that, and the things that they need. Well, we have to appropriate those things. The sooner the better. The sooner the better. We already have, it's already done for us, the appropriations mechanism. All we have to do is put it on the public record as a, we will do it as a command for services, but then we as Moors have to be getting ourselves ready to provide those services to the Moors who need it. So let me give you an example of how that works. When we as the government, and this is in each of the territories, this happens in each of the territories, we would send a request, not a request for proposal, but a it's basically just a plan on on what is needed. What do we need? Well, we need some Moors who have the ability to feed others. If you have restaurants or you know how to work in a restaurant or anything like that where that's concerned, there are resources to help you be able to do that job. Okay, we have to take care of the people on the land. Okay, so we're basically just preparing for that. And that's why 100 million is necessary, so that we can put the things that we need in place so that the Moors can be the ones feeding other Moors, so that the Moors can be the ones where when Moors have an issue at law, that they're seeing other Moors standing on the bench, and that they see other Moors in consul positions and assisting at the trial, assisting the Moors at the trial. So that is what that's where we're going with all of this. So we're going to be showing you, again, going more in depth over the coming weeks and months about exactly what is needed, how much, you know, each position lawfully, the compensation for each lawful position of trust or position of profit. And we're doing both profit, offices for profit and offices for trust. Okay. What does that mean? That means that whether you are doing merchant commerce and you have things that you want to provide that we can purchase, and we're really not purchasing it, we're just doing a sovereign exchange in terms of using sovereign banking credit. And that looks just like, it looks like purchasing it, but we use different language. Because then you're serving, and a servant is worthy of their hire. I'm in a service position right now, okay? But I'm also in a position of honor and trust. So, and we all are, depending on what we're doing. So we're in the process now of getting ready to put that information on the public record and start bringing those things to manifestation so that Moors can start working, again, getting what they need, but being paid lawfully and being paid what you're worth, and ensuring that we're providing the services to our nation, because that is what nation and state is all about, and government is all about, is providing the services that the Moors need. There are Moors on this call right now who need domicile. There are Moors on this call right now who need a decent meal. We need to be able to take care of one another that way. It has to be done in an orderly manner, et cetera, et cetera. So now, some of these documents, and all of these documents right here, this is the 40-something documents that we put on the public record. As you'll see, it's the sovereign security number, it's the sovereign president, provost marshal document, the postmaster general, unum sanctum, indemnis facier, the lien on the banks, the lien on the United States Corporation Company, the transfers for minors law. All of these documents will be under this video. There will be a link to them so that you can get these documents done. The debt constitution, that is also under here. It will be done as well. The title to all land and the empire at the Empire State of Morocco, which is everywhere. That's earthwide. And we do have meets and bounds, earthwide meets and bounds. Name change, appellation change, judicial proclamation, termination of all corporate contracts, a copy of Moorish ID, living birth affidavit, sovereign security number affidavit, proclamation of trust, a lien on the nom de guerre, a consular court action regarding that nom de guerre, a lien on, you don't have to do a lien on the Library of Congress because you'll have this first lien here, the lien on the United States Corporation Company. Okay. And then also, Moors, if you'll notice number 4C here is 1099G, 1099K, and W3. The 1099K is the merchant card. Look it up. Okay? Because some will say, well, what gives us the authority to print a merchant card? The 1099K says that the merchant card, that there is a card issued by the government for expenses. Okay? I want to make sure I use the right language. It says that, and then what we do is of course, we're the government, so we have to print the card. Okay? But that's making sure that these documents are on the public record first. So those who are in the territories, and that's the ones, I'll tell you this, the ones that are putting the constitutions on the public record, specifically speaking to you, okay, that these documents, go ahead and get these documents done. They're under here. You can copy and paste from what we've done, but make sure you understand how to demonstrate them and know that everyone else is custodian because we have had Moors to do all of those documents and not know that they're the president. They're they're the postmaster general. They're the heads of everything. They're the CEOs of all. Each one of us is the CEO of every company resource. Each one of us is the CEO of all of Microsoft, Yahoo, Apple, all of them put together. We're all the CEOs of that, of those resources. So those who put these constitutions out, I would encourage you to get these documents done so that we can start coming with the merchant card for you and then showing you in writing what the tribution to the heirs looks like. What that looks like. What does that look like on paper by affidavit? It might seem like it's a huge deal, but I'm watching these. The custodians here are doing a great job of showing us that this is nothing we can't do because we're doing it already. The appropriations that are happening, that are being modeled for us and acted out for us, they're being acted out by Moors here. But if you want to see some really good appropriation, go on to YouTube and go to, let's see, let's see, what did we look at? We looked at one in we put it in, we saved one of the videos where the Moors in the video, they were just honorable. They knew the process of appropriation. They didn't realize that they were appropriating, in a Fiat-based system, but that's okay. Because we were being shown that so that we could see how to do it. So let me just see if I can pull that up for you, because it's important that we know. Just one moment. Let's see if I can pull it up. Just one moment. And I'll put the link to it in the chat. I believe I found it here. Yep, this is it. Whew. Just watching these Moors and how respectful they were of each other. It just gave me all kinds of affirmation that this is not anything that we cannot do. We're already doing it. So let me put this in the chat so that you can watch this video just when you have some time, some spare time, Moors. I'll put a link to it here. This is how appropriations is done. Where the Moors if you have a love for helping people, and most of us do, your needs will get met as you help others. I'm a living witness to that. All we need to do is step forth to help one another, and everything we need is going to be answered with this appropriation, this piece. But when you have some time, just dart through that video and look at how they talk to each other. And look at how honorable they are throughout the video. Just nobody was, trying to outdo the other. It was not anything like that. They were genuinely there to help and to assist one another. in getting the children fed and the children taken care of. Okay? That's what a merchant card is for. Yes, Justice Yaqub Ali. For those who want to see what Justice Yaqub Ali did with these different constitutions for Ukraine and these different places, he's put the link in the chat. Okay. So this is where we're going with all that we're doing. We have to feed and house and clothe ourselves on the land. Okay. It's going to be a beautiful process. And in doing so, we save all that we have too. We must demonstrate to save ourselves first, then we can move to assist others. Okay? Competent demonstration so that those that are coming, and more, every Moor on this call is being prepared for the avalanche of Moors that's coming. They're starting to wake up already. That's why we're moving like we're moving. Because they don't need to run into a Fiat system that's going to hold them in a jail cell and detain them and say you got to pay, whether it be $100 bond or $1,000 or $1 million bond. We don't need that. And them not having a way to get out of that situation. They need to know how to get out of it lawfully and to have that custodial, the custodians do as commanded with our system. So, are there any questions or comments about where we're going and why we're doing the things we're doing? And then what the merchant cards are for. They're for us to take complete control of all merchandise and all merchant services, goods and services, so that we can get them to the Moors who need them. And many of the Moors on this call, we have stuff we need. Let's just get ourselves prepared to help everybody else, and we'll get what we need. Are there any questions about that? And I'll tell you this: if you want to know where we're going and what it's going to look like, and why we needed the merchant card and why we needed delarium, those who've been going through the quote-unquote request for proposal process know that there's nothing there for them and that they're being taxed so heavily on whatever comes through. And if the contract is $1 million and they get the contract, they may pay themselves $150,000, but then the devourer, the court devourer, comes through and up to half, or if not more of that. If not more of that. We don't need any of that. We need to help. We need to be prepared to help the Moors. We have what we need to do it. Now we just need to continue to get our, we have the resources. We need to get our competence levels to where they need to be. And here's the thing about the competence levels: it'll come as you do the work. It'll come as you demonstrate. I learned all the things that I learned thus far, or remember all the things that I remember, because I've had to demonstrate. And I've been tested through the testing, and you all know about my POW test and things like that. Through that testing is how the gates kept opening. Gates is government. Gates, that word means government. Okay. And we need to get ready to help the Moors, because not only are there Moors on this call that need help, but there are Moors everywhere that need help. And the only way for us to be able to do that is that we know who we are and we know how to demonstrate who we are all day, every day. We're positioning right now, and we're already positioned. We just need to keep demonstrating, and then if you have time, go to the county website and look at RFPs, or requests for proposals, look at what they're focused on. All of the requests for proposals have a component in it that responds to homelessness. All of them have something that responds to homelessness. Well, if you provide the remedy for homelessness to get people into a one-bedroom apartment, what makes you think you can't provide the remedy for a 10,000 square foot domicile? Especially when it's done at ancient Morocco in our allodial system. There's nothing that can stop us from having 10 of anything that we want. There's enough room on our land for all of us. But we have to start with helping those who need the most, and that's what merchant cards are for. So the Moors that are prepared to step up, take a look at the request for proposals for the county. If you want, I can pull up one really quickly just so that we can look at it. Let's see. I'll pull it up first. Just so that we know why we have as many resources as we have. The reason we have these resources. Let's see. And we're going to be doing it outside of what you're seeing, okay? We are outside of this system. Just one moment. Okay. Just one moment. Just one moment. Let's see if I can pull up. This is how Moors get off the street and get, what they need. But we have to do it outside of, okay. The majority of what we're going to be doing is the same thing with this that we do with the constitutions and everything, is making it our own. Making it our own, and then here.
Islam.
Islam.
As I look at this list of constitutions that was received, I only see that now we have put on the public record for not only for commerce but for travel, because now that these constitutions have been rewritten for the Moors established, we can now freely travel with our national cards and be established to, egress and egress without problem and no need for passport because we are outside of their jurisdiction.
There it is. There it is. There are so many things that are affected by just the one action of us coming together and putting the constitutions on the public record that is it's something to behold. Because now the right to travel really is the right to travel. You're right, Empress. The properties are in the right place. The banks are where they should be. The resources are where they should be. So, let's see, I am hesitant to show this one. Well, what I'm about to show you, let me preface it. I'll show it, but let me preface it. What I'm about to show you is a modeled acting version of what we're really going to do. And this will show you why we need the merchant card, why we needed or to have merchant cards for our, and we don't need them, but our nation needed to have access to them. Okay. Again, this is not anything that we would put anything toward, but we're going to model what we do after looking at these. Okay. So here, this is the 2022 Federal and State Benefits Navigation Support for People Experiencing Homelessness, RSP. And it was a small one. It was, I guess, 300,000 here. And again, we're going to be allocating these funds. We're not looking to them to get anything from them. We're just looking at what they did, and we're going to do the same thing with our own money and our own everything, our own banks and everything. And it's already set up. Our banks are already in motion. Okay. Here is this is public benefits are key, helping people without homes access, restore, and maintain benefits to improve personal stability and system effectiveness. Okay. They put in a certain amount for youth, and then they put in a certain amount for the stability program.
Islam.
And they the majority of what was given was to help the people to get homes, to get domiciles. Okay. And go ahead, Empress.
Well, what jumped out at me on this, it says navigation twice on youth, Friends of Youth and Mary's Place. It says navigation, and we do navigation.
Yes. So when I saw this more, go ahead, Empress.
I'm saying that it's asking us to help essentially because they don't navigate, we do. Benefit navigation.
Yes.
That benefit
navigation.
Yes,
they're modeling.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, they're modeling for us. And then if you go to the HUD, the Housing and Urban Development website, there's some more modeling going on. They're teaching us how to govern. We don't go into their program. We do our own. Okay? We have what we need to get it done. We just need to do it. Period. That's really what needs to happen. We need to write it up the same way they wrote their RFPs up. We write ours up. Then we implement it. And then more who have businesses can provide services. So the more businesses grow. And those who, even if you've never done anything like, let's say you have a love for art. Okay, let's say you have a love for art, and I'm just going to use art, but we do so many other things too. If you have a love for art and you've never done art before, but you go and you pull up a business proposal and you tailor it to what you see yourself doing. So you see yourself teaching children art. And the way you've written up your business proposal is their proper status must be on the public record. Okay, that's a must. Okay, that has to happen. And that has to be included in every proposal that goes forth. And then and again, we help everyone. It doesn't matter what their nationality or citizenship status is. It's just that the proper status has to be, they have to be in their proper status to get the help. Okay? So if you see yourself teaching art to children, just because you've never done it before doesn't mean that you are barred from sending something to the government, which is us, as a request for proposal, saying, this is my business plan, this is what I have laid out, this is my salary, or not my salary, is it salary? This is my compensation, this is what we're going to be teaching, this is the mission statement, this is any experience that I've had or any education that I've had, and then any erudition. And when we say erudition, have you done court actions or anything like that? Because everything we do it by court action too. We have to still speak the law. So again, we're just preparing to house, feed, and clothe our own nation. Okay. Justice Yacoub, what do you mean? What are the status options? I'm not sure that if you could explain the question. What are the status options? When you say status, what do you mean?
When you said, Yacoub Ali here, when you said status, then the audio dropped, so I didn't hear what you said after status. So when I say status options, you said the status must be, I assume, declared. It must be part of the document we're preparing. So what options are we going to look for? Would it be that they are declared more, or declared subject to the Moroccan Empire? Or what?
Yeah. Do they have a Moorish ID, or do they have a citizen ID? Because everyone that comes in for services has to be properly identified. So you'll just look at the ID and say, okay, this is a Moorish ID, or this is a citizen ID. Just like on their forms that we do not fill out, it will say, check this box if you're a U.S. citizen, check this box if you're this, check this box if you're that. It will be the same on our documentations as well, because everybody that we help, and we're focused on now more. As I say what I'm about to say, please set egos aside if there be any. I'm not saying anyone has egos, but if you have them, please set them aside for these types of conversations, because they don't belong in these conversations at all. When we talk about assisting those who need domiciles, who need homes, domiciles, with Moorish ID, those who are providing the services, okay, let's first start there. Those who are providing the services, for example, if you provide realty services, okay, that's going to be needed. It's going to be necessary. If you clean domiciles, that's going to be necessary. If you're a carpenter and you do, whatever you do, start looking at what you've done in the past, what you are capable of doing, what you want to do. You start writing that up. If you're wanting your business to flourish, write up a business proposal, and a business proposal really is a business resume of what you want to do and who you specifically want to service. And I'll say this more, as we move into this piece, it does not matter what their citizenship or nationality status is. they still have to be helped. We still have to help everybody because that's what has been done in the past, and we cannot exclude anyone from the services, okay? So be prepared to assist everyone. That's why we need, and when you talk about homelessness, we're going to be specifically providing services to homeless, the homeless on our land. Because we know that when we provide that service, we start finding things in our research that help us too. Okay? And that goes for everyone. You know, I had asked the ancestors, you know, remember I asked them about how to get past fake policy and fake, you know, fake this and fake that. They showed me how to do that. It was by our court and doing court actions and not warring, you know. And then I said, well, what about the resources, the banking and things like that? How do we do that? And they've shown us how to get past that too. And now all we have to do is continue to demonstrate. Yes, Islam.
Well, housing is also saying, the God also said, our people should be clothed, shelter, and feed. The corporation have not done that. So that's why we have homeless people. The corporation have not lived up to their words, nor their vows, nor their oath. So we have plenty of people suffering on the streets. Clothes were not provided unless you pay for them. Clothes should be free. Housing is supposed to be free. And food is supposed to be free. Those 3 things were taxed and used to make money for doing commerce. So all people and most people are suffering because of that. As I look at even looking at this documentation, for instance of you, benefit of navigation. Navigation is sea and air. So the documentation was never done for the people, although it says it's for the people, to help people. It was never done for the people, but it was done for the corporation or the strawman or the warship docking at bay. And he's still paying subsidies to Mary place where he's docked. So although he getting stability that they claim, he still pay money for stability. So the stability he getting is no use, it's no help. He's still back at square one.
Okay, we can complain all day about what they did, but when it comes time for us to step up and do the work, we got to step on up. Okay.
You could change it by far.
It's not even going to be on what they did previously. We already know that they were not. They're not competent to serve the Moors in the way that the Moors need the service. Okay. Let's just put that out there. That's why, you know, they kept with the black thing because they're not competent to deal with the Moors. We're competent to deal with the Moors. So, you know, and I hear exactly what you're saying, Nobility. We have the authority to change that. If you need a domicile, this is a suggestion. Put it in your heart to help anyone else who needs a domicile, and watch how fast your domicile manifests. So we're gonna put this forth. We're gonna be moving into working on the RFP. We're doing a few more notifications in the territories right now, preparing to craft the RFP that's going to be kind of like the model for all the other territories, and then we're just going to implement. And what we'll do is come to each one of the territories and any questions, comments, connections, anything that needs to be done, we're going to make sure that it gets done in the territories so that we all work together and we're all on the same page and everything is being uplifted all at the same time. Okay? So again, we don't go to them for anything. What we do is we craft it and fashion it for ourselves. Now, those who need assistance right now, you will do what is done, however the ancestors lead you to do that, do it. Okay? However the ancestors lead you. Because but I will say this, if anyone who thinks that going back and contracting with them is the answer, that's not the answer. And you'll see that if you try. You'll see it if you try. It's just not the answer. However, in the interim, while we're doing these things, the ancestors are going to ensure that we're all taken care of when we stay peaceful, continue demonstrating, and just keep doing one thing after another, one thing after another. These, and I'll say this in concluding this sharing session, that these constitutions is a huge, gigantic piece of the puzzle. Huge, gigantic piece. And when I say huge, I mean huge. Because all of the claims that you made previously stating that these domiciles were, in ancient Morocco, or your apartment that you got, that they did eviction actions on, was it ancient Morocco? You can go all right on back and say, no, so. Okay, that's the importance of the Constitution and the charters. It's the land and the admiralty, both. We're already getting testaments that is what we should be doing. So if you didn't see your territory with a constitution or a charter, please go out and pull it. Put it in the proper format and get it put on the public record, and then send us a copy at thegovernment.com. Okay? Because we're already getting testaments that, as soon as these constitutions get out there on the public record, everyone knows that, okay, they're on their own land. That's what they said. So we have to honor that. Any other questions, comments, or anything of that nature? Anything at all? Really quickly, the meets and bounds document that Empress Crystal did. So grateful for her. We're going to put that on the screen here briefly, so that you can see that each of the territories has meets and bounds to go with these constitutions that we put up on the public record. And hopefully everyone that sent the Constitution did put it somewhere on the public record. We're keeping track of them so that we can put all of them together, and then we're going to start doing constitutional conventions in the territories, and then together as a nation, so that we can continue to claim the land and its resources according to the will of our ancestors. Again, we have meets and bounds for all of the territories, okay? And so with those meets and bounds, we can also put latitude and longitude if we want to do that. Some have more detailed meets and bounds than others. Okay, but we have them. We have the meets and bounds, so we're good with that. We know where the estate is. We know where we are. We know who we are, and all of that. And so, with that being said, if there is nothing further with regard to, again, the meets and bounds, put the merchant cards where they should be so that they're honored properly. And we'll be demonstrating that also in the coming days and weeks. We're going to be demonstrating the merchant card as the appropriation piece continues to unfold. Okay.
Islam. Go ahead.
Islam ability.
Islam. The gods and goddesses from the east and west shall come and rise and free the people. Asher.
I say.
Islam.
I say. Yes, Empress.
So the leaps and bounds, will that be also available for us to also put on our personal public notice sites?
Oh, absolutely. 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 We encourage you to do so. Even if you just take the meets and bounds for where you are out of it and put it on your document, or take the entire document, and I would take the entire document. I'm going to put the entire document with my demonstrations because all of the land belongs to us. And then as we get these measurements and things, for the Moors at UK territories, if you look at the territorial constitution, they have the meets and bounds in them. It's going to be somewhere on the public record with regard to the territories. Each one of the ones that were doing business as states, in their constitutions, they put meets and bounds somewhere in there.
Will you like the original copies also?
Huh?
Will you like the original copies also? The original
I
copies.
can't understand what you're saying.
Will you like the original
copies?
copies? The original copies of the Constitution. Will you like the original ones?
No, I don't need, well, and those aren't the original. The corporate copy I don't need.
Okay.
I just would like for you to scan it in and send me what you have,
Okay.
what you have put on the public record.
No problem.
Okay. And that way, again, right to travel and all of that.
Yeah,
I
don't know how, Mr. Aisha, how to take it down. Go ahead, Nobility.
Islam, Raymond Bayel here. Speaking on what we were just speaking, well, this is a different topic. As far as the, I don't know if you can see this, but can you see that?
Yeah.
That's your domicile. I did another demonstration today. I'm shipping it out tomorrow. But that's your domicile. But I was going to tell the Moors on the call listening that I found a place that actually, that actually works, that I can find the natural area code. Basically, when you go to the site, it tells you your natural area code. Yes, it's called coordinatesconverter.com. Type that in, guys.
Okay. Coordinate.
Yep, coordinates-converter.com. And when you pull it up, what's going to happen is it's going to actually, just like anything else you pull up, it's going to know your location. It's going to give you the code, it's going to give you your longitude, latitude, and also it's going to give you your natural, natural
area code.
Yes, your natural area code.
NAC.
By mistake, because I didn't think, I'm steady mulling my head over this using your domicile when we're all the Moorish American government. So I said, okay, let me look into it. It was because I don't want my documents going back to you. If somebody had a question or something with me and it's going to you and I'm not getting it. And so I figured I'd look it up. So if you guys look it up, I think you'll find it very helpful. Islam, I yield.
Yes, Islam. Thank you so much, Justice Raymond.
Islam.
Yes, Islam.
Yes, I was just going to mention on one of the calls before, one of the Moors had a question about getting a name for one of the subjects at the corporations, and there's a website called zoominfo.com, and if you type in the corporation that you're looking for and zoominfo.com, it'll pull up a list of all the employees that work there, all the custodians that work at that particular corporation.
Burning down.
There it is. You said Zoom Info, ZOOM Info?
Yes, yes.
All right, you have it, Moors. Another resource. ZoomInfo.com. And then Justice Akil put something in the chat. Google Maps, and it's something called Plus Code. Plus Code. So that's another resource right there. Yeah. Well, all right, listen.
Islam.
Go ahead,
that plus codes gives you the same thing that the brother was speaking about, the longitude, latitude, and the natural area code. Google Maps has that now.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that, Justice Akil and Justice Raymond. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Because the Moors were a little bit perplexed because that natural area code site seemed to not be working for weeks at a time. I don't know what the deal is with that. But I will say this, anytime we seek some information, we'll find it. Whether it's, it doesn't matter where they move it to, we'll find it. All we have to do is keep talking and coming together like we're coming together. Okay? So can we see now the overall picture of what the merchant cards are for, how to make sure that our territories are what, you know, that the custodians are honoring the things we say in the territory. But you can also see, and I'll say this in conclusion, you can see where we were missing some steps in what we were doing, like, say, 2 or 3 years ago. We had all of these steps that we needed to take to competently state who we are. And now that we're doing that, we have more things to do. We're not done by any means because our state is vast. I'm just saying, it's super vast. And we have to prepare for that and to remember those steps as well. But we've made so much progress. It's just amazing. And I'm just grateful that we all get it. Okay? That we all get it. Because, you know, we deserve our vast estate, I'm telling you. We do. And if we're patient and we keep moving like we're moving, nothing can be denied. No, there's no one there to deny it, first of all. We're here, you know. And not only that, those who are there just, you know, they're custodians and they don't have the authority to deny either, you know. When we're competent, when we're peaceful, and when we know who we are, that's it. With that being said, we will adjourn here and we will be back here on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Islam, grand rising.
Grand rising heirs.
Islam, grand rising.
Islam.
Islam, grand rising.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Islam.
Islam, grand rising.
Islam, grand rising.
Virginia Territory.
Grand rising.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Justice Frank Eel, long live the empire. Adam Moore.
Islam.
Islam Empress, right? Once a day.
Islam.
I did put a question in the chat about insurance.
Okay, just one moment. One moment.